Winifred Bendel was born in Alameda County in 1889. Winifred was 67 when she decided to run for the first city council. She was an educated woman of her time that was able to use her education, devotion to civic matters to become a part of a brand new city. All the while being a mother, running a home, and all that involves in a time when a woman's place was to be in the home. Her family lived in Fremont. Her father was a rancher and her mother, Agnes, and her two brothers and a younger sister lived together. Their family seemed to be wealthy, and all their doings were reported in the Oakland Tribune through the years. That time, that was their Facebook and our Instagram. She went to Oakland High and the University of California and became a librarian. In 1919, at 30 years of age, she marries Roland Bendel, her sweetheart. A Tribune article described it as a small home wedding with friends. They settled in Niles in California. They had a ranch. Roland worked for the California Brick Company. Later years, he was chief of the Dakota Fire Department. They had two children. Winifred was born in 1920, and Roland Jr. was born in 1924. She was very busy those days. She wrote for the Niles Weekly Register. She wrote various plays, silent movie scripts. She belonged to the Washington Township Women's Country Club. She was president from 1926 to 1928. She was also on the board of the Niles Free Library. During World War II, she was the farm home agent. For the Salvation Army, she was the secretary. Virginia Marriott, one of the members of the Washington Township Women's Country Club, said about her, "A very strong person, well-read, very dignified. She conducted herself in very ladylike manner." In 1909, Alvarado, Dakota, Warm Springs, Mission San Jose, Irvington, Centerville, and Niles were known as Washington Township. These communities had their own volunteer fire departments and Chamber of Commerce's. The Alameda County Board of Supervisors in Oakland served as their basic government. In 1950, many of the Chamber of Commerce's were worried about the economy of each town. Fear of annexation from Hayward or San Jose was upon them. A desire to preserve their way of life, planned development, zoning laws and taxes and government that would serve the needs of these communities. Alvarado and Dakota, they incorporated into Union City and Newark. She wrote the pamphlet, "Why Should Fremont Incorporate?" It was well received by all. In 1955, petitions to incorporate were successful. 17 people ran for the first city council, and Winifred put her name into the ring and became fifth. 1956, at the age of 67, she was the first woman on the first city council of the newly incorporated and the third largest city in square miles in California. Well, unfortunately, 2 years later in 1958, the honeymoon was really over. Two bond issues were on the ballot. The one to buy property, 12.3 acres, for a civic center and a recreation area of 6 acres. It failed. The two new members of the council, Mr. Stedman and Mr. Cunningham, campaigned together against buying the property for the civic center and were pro-growth. Didn't care for the general plan or the new city manager, Robert Koop. Neither did Mrs. Bendel. They and Mrs. Bendel became the power on the council. She and Stedman and Cunningham did not like Robert F. Koop or his ideas, voting 3-2 on many issues that came before the council. Recall petitions for Stedman, Cunningham, and Bendel were started, but the two men had just been elected and couldn't be recalled, so Bendel was recalled. In 1981, she came back for the reenactment of the first city council swearing in of the 4 original council members. She was quoted as saying, "Well, when they saw the 3 of us who opposed putting City Hall where it is now, the powers that be decided they had to get rid of one of us. So they just had to get rid of me. That's just the way things work out." It took 20 years before Jan Stillwell was elected to the council in 1980. But through the years, many women have run for city council, and today we have a woman mayor. Her husband, Roland Bendel, passed in 1965. She remarried and became Winifred Bendel Stewart. She moved to Pleasanton, then Walnut Creek. She was widowed again in 1975. She lived to be 91 and attended Fremont's silver anniversary and offered a bit of advice. Elect councils that are really concerned with the needs of the city. It would be too bad if much of any council is elected just to exert political pressure. At 91, she still had her opinions and something to say.